vision over the years, and they all, maybe they start in one creative place, and through the years they evolve individually as people and as artists, and then they end up somewhere else, and maybe they reach the end of that initial creative cycle. So for us, we felt like Deep Dish became something more than what we wanted to do or what we envisioned individually, you know, with our own careers. The demands were great, to sound a certain way, to be in the limelight, to, you know, this was all before EDM and stuff. So for me personally, I come from more of a left field, alternative, underground background, and for me it was, the adjustment was difficult, you know, and it became more and more difficult. And I had ideas that I wanted to explore that weren't necessarily right for Deep Dish. So we decided, you know, Sharam I think first went solo, and then I was like, okay, what the hell am I gonna do? And then, you know, he had some very big, like, early success with some of the records that he did, like Party All the Time and stuff. So that was like a kick in the ass for me to to do something as well. So, you know, and I dived in. He dived in, you know, head first, and I did the same thing. And I had a lot of support from a lot of my friends, like in the underground techno community and stuff. So, you know, it's hard work, no personal life, you know, like, yeah. Even at the peak of Deep Dish, like, we had to basically start over again, you know, building up our individual identities. So.
Perfecto, bueno, le preguntaba que por qué decidieron, cuando estaban en su clímax Deep Dish, por qué decidieron terminar con el proyecto en ese momento. Él nos dice que, como en muchos grupos a lo largo de la historia, menciona a los Rolling Stones, a los Beatles, a Pink Floyd, muchos grupos que han decidido, justamente llegan a esa espiral de creatividad donde las cabezas pues buscan otras cosas, ¿no? Buscan evolucionar como personas y buscan evolucionar como artistas. Obviamente con ellos se dio esta evolución donde Deep Dish pues ya no alcanzaba, o Deep Dish no era como el proyecto para seguir con esta evolución. Nos está contando que de hecho el primero que decidió lanzarse como solista o a sacar cosas como en individuo fue Sharam. De hecho ustedes recordarán Party All the Time, que fue un gran éxito, y platica, bueno, para mí fue un pain in the ass, ¿no? Ya saben que es un pain in, para mí fue como así como de, pues ¿qué demonios voy a hacer, no? ¿Qué diablos voy a hacer? Y fue cuando sus amigos, nos dice que tuvo apoyo de toda la parte underground del techno, sus amigos de esta escena le dijeron, pues vas, anímate, haz tu propio proyecto en solitario. Y bueno, así fue como comenzó, ¿no? Y bueno, cabe mencionar que Deep Dish al final del día, como él lo menciona, ya no daba para los proyectos que tenían ellos en conjunto. Ali, when you decide to split up the project of Deep Dish, and you just tell us that how was this process to rebuild your music, rebuild your I don't know, your image, all your stuff? As you say, Deep Dish was like, I think you were the fathers of the, let's not tell the EDM, but yes. But you are the first, I think in that moment you were the electronic artist most popular in that moment. I compared, really, I think you opened the gates for Swedish House Mafia, for other projects. And how was this process to rebuild your music, to rebuild all your image around the world? How was this process for you?
I mean, this is like Deep Dish 2.0, so it's sort of like a rebirth. So we knew we had to come out with, you know, obviously a new logo, new imagery, new branding assets, and obviously a lot of time has passed. So the people that were Deep Dish fans are married with kids. They don't really, they don't go out anymore and stuff like that. So right now we're having to adjust to winning over new fans, and the way to do that these days is by doing shows and by making new music. and also Sharam and I have had to adjust together in the studio, trying to capture that initial magic that brought us together in the first place.
I want you said something very, very important, the magic. When the first time that you decided to reborn Deep Dish, the first time you were in the studio, the magic is there? Is it still there?
When we came back?
Yeah, when you came back. The first time you sit with Sharam, and you were in the studio, and man, what are we gonna make?
The magic between us is never easy. There's a lot of arguments. There's a lot of, there's just a lot of stuff that happens for us to arrive at that point where we both feel like, okay, this is something that we can stand behind. This is something that represents not only his style or, also represents my style. But there's a lot of, battles that we wage with one another in order to arrive at that magic. And sometimes, I think what happened was, one of the reasons why we split is we got tired of arguing with each other. It just became like you didn't want to get up in the morning and have to battle the other person all day long about everything. So, we're a lot older now. Even Sharam has 4 kids, so yeah. So, it's gotten easier, because we've learned so much having gone our separate ways about each other, and also we've grown older and more tolerant. But old habits die hard, so yeah, more wisdom, yeah, but it's still a struggle.
Bueno, le preguntaba que cómo fue para ellos el reinventarse con este relanzamiento de Deep Dish, ahora que la música electrónica está muy de moda, que está el EDM tan en boga, la Swedish House Mafia. Yo le decía que para mí ellos en ese momento pues fueron como que la puerta de entrada para muchos más DJs. Él me dice, bueno, pues que tienen que reinventarse en cuanto, o decidieron o buscan reinventarse con nueva música, con nuevos, con nuevos argumentos. Dentro de esos argumentos y esa magia, yo le preguntaba cómo fue ese reencuentro en el estudio, ¿no? Después de tantos años seguía esa magia. Él me comenta que la magia sí está, siempre ha estado, pero es muy complicada. O sea, nos está comentando que realmente es complicado, son 2 personalidades. Esto nos indica que Deep Dish son 2 personalidades muy diferentes. Sharam, como él, nos platica que de hecho alguna de las razones más importantes por las cuales decidieron terminar con el proyecto es por esos argumentos, no argumentar con la otra persona, esas peleas para llegar a esa magia, a ese final. Pues argumentaban y discutían mucho entre ellos, entonces pues es lo que me decía, no es placentero levantarte y estar pensando, tengo que argumentar con este güey o pelearme con este güey para llegar a esto, ¿no? Entonces, la edad es lo que nos dice. Bueno, la gente que escuchaba Deep Dish en ese momento, ahora ya está casada y con hijos. Entonces es un nuevo público al que le tienen que llegar, a un nuevo público al que le tienen que escribir y hacer esas canciones. Ese público que ahora que está casado y con hijos o que los escuchaba, pues ya no sale. Ahora son los chavitos, ¿no? Digo, muchos de los que aquí veo, pues no me dejarán mentir, pues ya los chavitos es otro tipo de música, es otro tipo de situaciones que están alrededor de la música electrónica, pero bueno, que al final pues ellos están o regresaron para acoplarse a esto y bueno, pues presentar su renacimiento como Deep Dish. Ali, what do you think? What do you think about the electronic music nowadays? When you split off the project, the electronic music was rising, and in this moment it's like the boom around the world. I know internet, I know Spotify and other things help to this growth of electronic music, but we can see David Guetta. David many years ago, and the music that David made a long time ago, it's not the same as the music it's making now. New DJs like, I don't know, Martin Garrix, it's 18 years, 17 years old, Deadmau5, all these DJs that are in the top in this moment of electronic. What do you think about the electronic music that Deep Dish made, and nowadays the electronic scene around the world?
I mean, we were experimenting with a lot of rock music as well. You know, like we were of course we started out as like a deep house act. Then we were remixing pop records from Paula Abdul and stuff like that. So we always had like one foot sort of in pop and mainstream circles. But towards the end of Deep Dish, we really wanted to, and we were influenced by more of a hybrid between rock, pop rock or whatever, and electronic music. I think a lot of the artists today and the doors that, you know, David Guetta's initial collaboration with like Will.i.am and you know, a few other R&B singers and stuff ushered in is, yeah, Kelly Rowland. Like, I mean, I think really married pop music because pop music was declining, you know, and I think he injected some new life into pop music. So pop music evolved and kind of merged with dance music, and now like dance is the new pop. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. All I know, everybody has their own personal preference and taste. I just get annoyed when I see so many people flocking to see these EDM DJs to listen to, you know, music that they probably have heard 1,000 times before. Instead of going and listening to more interesting artists who are playing far more interesting music that's very difficult to find, and, you know, digging a bit deeper below the surface. You know, it's okay if, you know, people are getting into electronic music through Afrojack or Tiesto or Avicii or Martin Garrix or whatever. But I just hope that they realize that behind that pop gloss, you know, that permeates this whole electronic music movement called EDM right now, there's far more interesting artists and music, you know, out there. So I hope it sets them off on a path of discovering all this great new music, and they just don't settle for, you know, pop. Pop is great, listen to it at home, but, you know, like when you're coming out to a club, come out with an open mind. Hey, I want to hear new music. You know, I'm excited to hear this DJ and his sound or whatever. You know, instead of, oh, I want to go listen to Levels for the 2000th time, or Animals or whatever. You know, like, yeah. So.
Aplausos, ching. Bueno, le preguntaba qué opinaba de la escena en estos momentos, el EDM que está tan fuerte a nivel mundial, con gente como Martin Garrix, como Hardwell, como todos estos personajes que mencioné, Deadmau5. Y bueno, él me decía que justamente personas como David Guetta, yo no sé si alguien escuchó antes a David Guetta, antes de que comenzara con estas colaboraciones, como menciona Ali, con gente como Will.i.am, con Kelly Rowland. Era una música sumamente diferente a lo que hace hoy día David Guetta, un house muy fino. Bueno, y sí tiene razón, el pop en esos momentos, justamente en ese momento cuando David Guetta, que fue el gran parteaguas o el que abrió realmente la escena a lo que es ahora, fue David Guetta, no hay que ni dudarlo. Justamente era porque la música pop estaba en una decadencia total. Y sí es verdad, todas se parecían todas las cantantes se parecían, toda la música se parecía. Entonces toman estos elementos de la música dance, de la electrónica, para resurgir, y bueno, resurgieron de una manera tan fuerte como lo que ahora conocemos, Martin Garrix, Tiesto, pero Ali dice que a pesar de todo eso espera que, o sea, escuchar pop está bien en tu casa, en el auto, pero vas a un club, debes de abrir o buscar más abajo de la superficie. Hay mucha música, la buena música es difícil de encontrar, estoy totalmente de acuerdo. Hay gente proyectos, DJs, productores, que tienen una gama de colores, de música, de experimental, que enriquece y nutre mucho la escena electrónica y que no es conocida, ¿no? Que en su momento no es tan popular, o que no trae ese beat que ahora está gustando. Entonces la gente como que lo deja a un lado, la gente no se preocupa por buscarlo. Él espera que nos dice que espera que la gente se dedique a buscar, y pues bueno, la invitación está ahí, ¿no? Las herramientas ahí están. En internet pueden descubrir una cantidad de música que antes, bueno, yo creo que ni en sueños y proyectos como Deep Dish, como Sharam, el mismo Ali, como tantos y tantos que han estado ahora retomando o saliendo del anonimato, pues es básicamente lo que nos cuenta. Now, what do you think about this new, I don't know, the electronic music nowadays? We can see going to deep house. Tiesto it's making deep house, and all these guys that are making EDM now they are like, oh, deep house. What do you think about this? It's good for the scene to explore these new sounds. We have Exit, your track Exit with Miss Kid, and in this moment in the radio station, it's the number one track in the radio station.
I think because there's a vocal.
It's a good signal. It's a
you
good
guys
signal.
like vocals, so
yeah. What do you think that they are moving now to the deep house? That deep house is the new stuff, or the new. Not new, you know, it's like
it's the sound of the moment.
The sound of the moment,
yeah,
that's the word.
But, you know, I can't comment on that. Music is going to evolve the way it evolves. Artists are going to collaborate or borrow styles from other genres. I mean, you know, I'm no stranger to that. All I can do is focus on, you know, the music that I make and the music that I support, and trying to expose people to interesting sounds, artists, and trying to challenge myself and evolve myself. You know, every year, you know, whatever new record I do, I try to make it sound completely different than the last record, and that's like a self-imposed challenge that I have with myself. It's very easy and comfortable for me to come out with Exit number 2 and Exit number 3 or whatever, you know, but you know, like,
yeah,
but what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
Bueno, le preguntaba de este ahora nuevo camino que está tomando la electrónica, que en estos momentos el Deep House está haciendo como que el sonido, pues sí, el sonido de moda o el sonido recurrente. DJs como Tiesto justamente y otros tantos están retomando el Deep House o están haciendo Deep House. Bueno, él me dice que al final del día, para él lo importante es evolucionar en cuanto a su música, evolucionar él en cuanto a sus sonidos, a lo que él está haciendo, él como productor, ponerse o trazarse nuevos retos y cumplirlos. Entonces, bueno, digo, habla muy bien de lo que estamos platicando, de la nueva música, el Deep House, que como les decía, hay muchos proyectos que son muy buenos y que no están como que a la vista de todos. And the question, I think it's one of the question that many people are making. Deep Dish is back for how much time?
I mean, the fans determine that. So for years, the fans wanted us back, and it took a long time for Sharam and I to talk about and resolve some of our issues with one another in the past. And you know, we were always listening to the fans, and in many ways we felt like Deep Dish was our baby, and we were like the proud parents, and then we just kind of walked away from it without even a statement in the press as to why. So, you know, we feel very honored and humbled to be a part of the evolution of electronic music, especially in that early period. So we wanted to make sure that we finish our story the right way. And also what's going to determine how long we stay together is what happens in the studio and in the DJ booth. So if we're continuing to inspire one another, and if we're continuing to challenge one another, if we don't get bored of one another and doing what we do, then we'll continue doing it. So
what I see in Miami and Ibiza, you're gonna be for many, many years.
Yeah, we've had some great shows.
Yeah, great, very great show. Le preguntaba que la pregunta obligada era ¿cuánto tiempo estará Deep Dish nuevamente? Por ahí en muchas páginas se decía que solamente un año, una gira. Bueno, él me dice que realmente los que tienen la última palabra son ustedes, los fans, y obviamente eso fue parte del arreglo, ¿no? Del regresar y arreglar esos problemas que tenían entre ellos. Siempre le hacen mucho caso a sus fans. Ahí está la prueba de que les pedían que regresaron, pero justamente al final tiene mucho que ver con la magia o cómo se comporten los shows o cómo les vayan en los shows y sobre todo lo que pase en el estudio, que tienen que, obviamente, para mantener vivo a su bebé, como dice él, que es Deep Dish, lo tienen que hacer muy bien, tienen que conjuntarse muy bien en el estudio, en los escenarios, para que este bebé, como dice que son unos padres orgullosos, lo puedan terminar en el mejor término, ¿no? Siempre es mejor terminarlo cuando estás arriba que ya cuando casi nadie te pele. Are you okay if we made I don't know, questions for the crowd? I don't know,
no problem.
No sé si alguien quiere preguntarles algo, para acercarles un micrófono. Dani, ¿me ayudas, porfa? Tenemos otro micrófono por ahí. O si no, yo acerco el mío, no te preocupes. No sé si alguien se quiere acercar, hacer una pregunta acerca de Deep Dish, acerca de... Por allá hay uno.
So hello Ali, I'm
Hello.
Luis, a big Dubfire fan. So
Thank you.
I would like to know tonight, I have not been to a Deep Dish set yet, so I want to know how much of this Deep Dish 2.0 and how much of Dubfire back-to-back Sharam are we going to see tonight?
Well, it's funny, a lot of people, some of the fans have been commenting on the shows, and we've been reading some of the posts on our social media, and sometimes you hear the fans saying, oh, it was just like classic Deep Dish, the dynamic was amazing, and sometimes they say it sounded like Dubfire versus Sharam or something like that. I guess we never know. We really cater to whatever environment we're in, and so many elements go into how comfortable we feel with one another, and how that comfort level translates to the dynamic between us. So like if the sound is amazing, if the tequila is flowing, and if the crowd is amazing, like we feed off of that energy, and that energy comes into us, and then it's transferred between us, and we really try. I guess I try to make an effort. It's difficult because it's still early. I try to make an effort not to sound like Dubfire when I'm playing with Sharam. So I try to take a step outside of what I normally play, my normal musical sonic landscape, and go more in his direction, or the Deep Dish direction, whatever that is. And I think he makes the same effort to come into my direction. And sometimes it's very fluid and wonderful, and Sharam and I can feel when it is, and we can also feel when it's not, when we're not in sync. So it's been very interesting for us, and I think more interesting for the audience to see what the dynamic is like. So I guess we'll see. Let me know tomorrow. Okay.
Bueno, por aquí le preguntaban que él como fan de Ali, lo había visto, qué podría esperar de Deep Dish para que sonara Deep Dish y no sonara como un Ali versus Sharam. Bueno, la respuesta que dio Ali es esto, ¿no? La misma dinámica, lo mismo cuando ellos están en sincronía, cuando ellos están, digamos, pues sí, en armonía, ellos mismos lo sienten, cuando no también, ¿no? Para ser bien puntuales. Él trata de irse un poquito más al lado de Sharam, y él dice que también Sharam trata de hacerse un poquito más hacia su lado. De hecho, la música que normalmente él toca como Ali, la deja a un lado y tratan de más bien compenetrarse y compenetrar la música para que sea justamente Deep Dish. Dice que al final del día es algo bastante interesante que la gente se dé cuenta si lo lograron y si realmente fue un Ali Dubfire versus Sharam Tayebi, ¿no? Que también es una parte bastante interesante del proyecto de Deep Dish. Another question? He's asking me, I think you know very well the Mexican scene. You are in the BPM every year. What do you think about the electronic scene in Mexico? The DJs, the producers that you know, that I know that you have a lot of friends that live here. What do you think about the Mexican scene of producers?
I'm trying to think of Mexican producers now that I know. I mean, obviously, you mentioned BPM. I think BPM is one of the most exciting showcases for electronic music in the world, let alone in Mexico. You know, I think, you know, we were talking before about like, you know, me wanting and wishing for audiences to try to discover more of a wider sound, more alternative, whatever. And I think BPM is like a beautiful showcase for that because, you know, obviously a lot of the EDM guys have heard about BPM and they want to get in on it, but like the organizers have been very protective of, you know, what they've built and they don't want it tarnished by that. Like the philosophy of BPM is a wonderful philosophy, and it's great that it's happening in Mexico, you know, and in the fastest growing city I think in the world. I think Playa del Carmen is the fastest growing city in the world. So I'm always happy to go there. I'm always looking out for, you know, with my SciTech label, for discovering new artists from around the world. And I encourage whoever is a you know, young producer, bedroom producer or whatever, to please send me, you know, whatever you're working on, and I'll listen to it and give you my support. So. Yeah.
Bueno, él nos está diciendo más de productores. Ahorita no, como que no le quedó o no le vino ninguno a la mente, pero invita a todos aquellos productores, sobre todo los que nos están escuchando, jóvenes productores, que le manden los demos a su disquera y él, cuando es buen material, feliz de apoyarlos. Obviamente menciona BPM, que es un festival al cual él normalmente viene cada año, que es un festival que ha ido evolucionando, sobre todo en Playa del Carmen ya se ha hecho muy grande, y justamente es lo que nos dice, ¿no? El BPM ha sido o esta música underground o estos sonidos que son diferentes a lo que está de moda o lo que está en boga, y que es justamente la forma de capturar o de descubrir toda esta música tan variada que hay, y que, bueno, que en Playa del Carmen le sorprende cómo ha crecido, lo bien que lo han cuidado los organizadores, que no son muy, como decía él, muy protective con esto, es decir, son muy cuidadosos del talento al que eligen, al que invitan, y que cada año se va haciendo mucho más grande.
Ali, thanks for coming back to Mexico, and Mexico is your house. And welcome.
Thank you. I love it here. So, gracias. Thank you.
No sé si por ahí alguien le quiere hacer otra pregunta. Y si quieres ya vente tú para acá y ya ahorita le hacemos otra. ¿Qué hubo, Arenas?
Hi, Dubfire. My
Hi.
question is, what's the best festival, maybe party or club where you have played? The best parties you have ever seen in your whole life?
Man, obviously Ibiza is a big part of that. Like I've been playing Enter most recently the last couple of years, and that's become for me Enter and like DC10, Circo Loco, DC10, and Cocoon. They become some of the most important events for me, and you know, it's usually with these kinds of events or isolated events around the world, like Warong Club in Brazil and stuff like that, where I get actually really nervous before I play. Yeah, most people think, okay, I've been doing this for, you know, 25 years or so, I don't get nervous. No, I get really, like, I feel like throwing up before some of these Ibiza gigs where I know like all of my favorite producers and stuff are on the island and they're there checking me out and stuff like that. So Ibiza is still a major part of not only my genre of music, but I think overall it's definitely the center of electronic music and the heartbeat of electronic music, and it has been for many years. And BPM is you know, a little mini heartbeat, but it's just as important to electronic music as Ibiza. I think you have, you know, a lot of people were talking about, okay, like Vegas is the new Ibiza. No, I think, you know, BPM, Playa del Carmen is definitely the voice that gets carried over when the Ibiza season sort of ends. Cool. You're welcome.
Well, I'm just want to ask you. Hi, I just want to ask you, what is your feeling, your thought of the future of electronic music? What do you want to improve or to transform from for electronic music?
I guess, I mean, it's hard to think about that because, especially with my genre of music, it's all driven by technology. You know, like technology really moves it all forward, and you know, the internet has really advanced everything, you know, in such a short period of time. It's, you know, I just hope that people don't become lazy and always try to challenge themselves with new music and new ways of making that music, new ways of performing the music, and not jump on bandwagons and do what everybody else is doing because it's working or making, you know, them a lot of money or something like that. You know, because, you know, take it from me, I've been doing this a long time. Like, if you're doing it for the money and not for you know, not to challenge yourself as an artist and as a human being, and you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be like, why did I do that? I'm so unhappy. It's horrible. You know, what was I thinking? So try to do it for the right reasons and try to think about the, you know, having a career over a long period of time as opposed to, you know, I want to do what he's doing because he's, you know, getting paid a lot of money, going out with models and on private jets and living the 5-star life or whatever. So it's not about that. It's about something deeper, you know. You're welcome.
Bueno, él le preguntaba hacia dónde ve el futuro, qué piensa del futuro de la música electrónica. Creo que lo más importante que podemos rescatar de lo que él dijo, de lo que Ali dijo, bueno, que el internet, las herramientas, la tecnología de hoy ha facilitado mucho el trabajo. Él espera que esos productores, que esa nueva gente que viene empujando no se vuelvan perezosos, no se vuelvan flojos y hagan lo que todo mundo está haciendo, ¿no? Que como él dice, ya con la tecnología hemos visto tutoriales, podemos ver que es muy fácil o al menos no es tan complicado como antes hacer la música. Él dice que aquellos que buscan o pretenden estar aquí por el dinero, pues al final del día están destinados a un día amanecer y decir, ¿por qué hice eso? No, eso no da la felicidad, el dinero no da la felicidad. Él más bien siempre ha buscado superarse a sí mismo, evolucionar como ser humano, como artista, y eso al final es lo que debe de ser lo primordial en un artista y no la búsqueda del dinero o de la fama en sí, ¿no? Eso al final del día es algo vago, pasajero, vacío, y digo, sí estaría rico amanecer con $20 millones, pero bueno, al final del día se va, ¿no? Y lo importante es lo que hiciste y lo que dejaste para todos los demás. Are you okay if we made a photo session with it? Okay. There's another question, sorry.
Más que una cuestión, muchas gracias por estar aquí nuevamente.
De nada, gracias.
Digo, yo los escuchaba desde hace muchos años atrás. Como lo comentabas hace un momento, algunos, y como lo decía Wallace, ¿no? La situación, algunos chicos escuchan a otro tipo de música, ¿no? Tengo 34 años, tengo un bebé de 1 año, se vuelve feliz con la música electrónica. Tuve la oportunidad de escucharlos cuando empezaron como Deep Dish y agradezco nuevamente poder tener la oportunidad de verlos y estar aquí con ustedes. Gracias también a ustedes por estar aquí con nosotros. Bienvenidos, yo sé que no es la primera vez que estás aquí en México. Conoces muy bien toda la temática, el tequila, los tacos y demás, pero nuevamente bienvenido y gracias por estar aquí, Deep Dish.
Yeah.
Es lo máximo.
Gracias. I think
I think you got it. I think you got it.
Yeah. My Spanish is not so good, but yeah.
When the heart speaks. Ok, vamos a hacer bueno, ahorita les explico, vamos a hacer las fotografías, para que no se canse, se suben, se toman la fotografía aquí atrás. Los que quieran fotos, para que se vayan formando, empezamos por esta fila, si todos quieren fotos, vamos así, nos vamos como en viborita. Así para no perder el orden, ¿vale? Pues mientras pon musiquita, hombre. Uno de nuestros talentos nacionales, Virtual DJ. Pues que se... Arenas, Bin. ¿Traes USB? Un bu para el Aren. Bueno, Daniel Granados, para quien no lo conozca, es DJ mexicano que ha firmado también con Armada. Ha firmado... ¿Con quién más, amigo, has firmado? House. Ha tocado en Miami, en el Winter Music Conference. Desde hace 3, 4 años toca ahí en Miami. Gran talento. Pues amenízanos, amigo.
talking about the good old days. Everybody's talking about the good old days. Everybody's talking about the good old days. Everybody's talking. Everybody's talking. The good old days. The good old days. Everybody's talking about the good old days. Everybody's talking. The good old days. The good old Everybody's talking about the good old days. Everybody's talking about the good old days. Everybody's talking. Everybody's talking.
House music. Not everyone understands. Not everyone understands. Not everyone understands. Not everyone understands. It's a spiritual thing. A body thing.
explicación. Sharam no pudo llegar, evidentemente por cuestiones de vuelo. Iba a ser un showcase donde iban a tocar ellos dos. Ustedes escucharon, el proyecto es Deep Dish. Ali no se siente cómodo tocando él solo, porque sería Ali Dubfire. Entonces, pues una disculpa, pero los invitamos al show. Aquí tenemos boletos para que vayan hoy al show en la noche. Los que no tengan, aquí les vamos a dar. Y para que puedan ver a Deep Dish en la noche. Ali, thank you so much for being here for the interview. Welcome back. This is your house. And I hope one day you could be here and play for us. Thank you very much.
For sure, next year. I already told you in the elevator I would come and do a set for you guys next year. So thank you.
Perfecto, ya se comprometió el próximo año aquí en la terraza, los invitamos. Gracias. No, can you sign me this? Sí, ya. ¿Alguien trae un plumón? Los plumones que tenemos, Chava. Que no se nos venga la gente para acá para la fiesta. Chava. Ok. Me tengo que despedir de internet. Gracias. Ali Dubfire, aquí en Beat 100.9. Nos vemos en el evento hoy en la Ciudad de México. Y el aplauso es para todo el público y todos los fans de Deep Dish. Gracias.